back to homeschool season is here, and you've probably remembered all the big things. You've ordered curriculum and gotten yourself a planner. You've created reading lists and chosen extracurricular activities, and I hate that word. I can never say it. But today I want to talk about some of those items that should be on your to-do list that may not be. I've got 10 of them to share with you. Number 1, what forms do you have to fill out still? I know that we don't have near as many as public schools, but, and that may be the downfall, is that we sometimes, at least for me, forget to actually fill out the forms that we do. For example, my youngest's soccer forms, I completely forgot and got them in right at the last minute. So if you have forms that you still need to do, make sure you get that on your to-do list. Number 2, I needed this one today, actually. Make sure that you have the contact information for any activity that you have going on outside of your house in your phone. In your contacts or in the details, the event details on your calendar, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, whatever. Today, I ended up at the wrong place for my kiddos' musical theater thing. And I needed to call the person and let them know. I didn't have her contact information in my phone. My kiddo had to go looking through my email. Anyway, it was a big, long to-do and a really good reminder on why you want to make sure that those things are in there. Contact information, details as far as locations, especially if someone else might be with transportation, get those things in there so you don't have to think about it later. Number 3, are there any subscriptions that you need to set up or cancel? We've all had those times when we've forgotten about a subscription or an app that renews and then we're paying for a year that we're not using it, or we forget to set it up until your kiddo is asking to do something they need for their assignments. So take a few minutes and go through credit card bills from last year. If you don't remember what you might have signed up for, set up any that you do. And while you're at it, make sure that you add the apps to whatever device, log in to whatever you need to do to make sure that those subscriptions are ready or not for your next school year. Number 4, sick days are going to happen. And if your kiddo is too sick to do anything and they really need to rest, obviously we want them to rest. That's one of the beauties of homeschooling, is we don't have to worry about attendance records. But what about those days when they're not feeling their best, but they're still able to do some things? What are you going to do? What about when you are feeling that way? Take a few minutes, 5-10 minutes per kiddo, and make a list of those things that are easier to do, either from their curriculum or favorite documentaries or TV shows, YouTube, I guess not TV shows probably with these kids, but you know what I mean. Go through and make a list of some things that are really easy for them to do and for you to do when someone is sick. I have a free sick day planner pack that I will leave the link for down below. Spending this time now is going to make it that much easier, especially if you're the one sick, that you don't have to think about what you can do, and you can just pull that list out. Number 5, how are you going to keep up with grading this year? I have 2 kiddos in high school, and I have got to be better on the planning than I was last year. I started out really well, and then, as often happens, I lost the habit. So I went ahead and put a block of time on my calendar for the rest of the year of when I'm going to sit down and grade. And not just grade, but record those grades as well. Make sure you've also got a plan for how you're going to receive those items that need to be graded. Do you have a Google Drive that you're going to have them submit? Are they going to email you with links? Do you have a designated spot on your desk if they're turning physical things in? Thinking about that now is going to make it easier to keep up with gradings later on. As for where I record grades, I keep this simple. We have Google Sheets. Each kiddo has one for each school year. Each kiddo has their own sheet. Each sheet has its own tab. Done, and simple. Number 6, go ahead and put your first set of library books on hold. And maybe your first set of library books, or first couple of sets. My library, and I know my system isn't the only one, has an activation date that I can put books on hold to be requested at a later date. Go ahead and see if yours does. Get those books on hold so that you're not having to wait on the books to arrive in order to make progress in your assignments. Number 7, update your transcripts. Now, I know you're not going to have grades. Why are you doing this now? You're doing it now so that you have less to do later. And so you don't forget later. If you have a high schooler, every high schooler needs a transcript for graduation. So go ahead and put their course names down, leave blank what their grade is going to be. If you know how many credits it's going to be worth, and you probably do, go ahead and add that. And then when you need to update it at the semester or at the end of the school year, you've already got that much done. Number, 7, I think, do this for your course descriptions too. If you have a kiddo who may be college bound, they may need course descriptions. Or maybe not. If you want to know what course descriptions are, the short answer is they're a summary of what your kiddo learned. I will leave links down below for both the transcript and course descriptions if you want to learn more. But after a disastrous experience with Elizabeth and course descriptions, I've really been trying to stay on top of this with my boys. However, writing course descriptions before we've taken the course is not easy for my brain. So what I've been doing each fall is making a list in their master list with subject, and then make some notes of what resources we plan to use, what curriculum, my main ideas of what we're going to learn. And then later you can go back and add the details, flesh it out, and make it better. I promise you that you will be so thankful that today you made some notes when later you goes to actually write the course descriptions. Number 9, create a list of, if we have time, activities. Things that look really good, but they conflict with practice schedule for soccer or another extracurricular activity or piano, whatever. Go ahead and make a list. And I do this on like a weekly calendar, but paper list, whatever you want to do, of some of those activities that sound good, but so that if soccer practice is canceled or whatever, then you have a list of like, oh, let's go do this today instead. I also like to do this for things around the home, shows that I might want to watch, or games that I forget about, websites we might want to visit, whatever. But having that list just means that when something comes up and you have some extra time, you already have a list of some things that you can do. And lastly, because I forgot about it until I got to the bottom of this list, what about art supplies, science project supplies, labs, whatever you're going to need? And if you've been around for a while, you might be chuckling because, of course, I forgot to mention this one because I am terrible about projects. I've shared this so many times. It is one of my weakest points with homeschooling. Grab those lists that you have of supplies you're going to need, and if you're really on top of it, put them all on your shopping list and get them purchased this week. Or if you're not able to do that for whatever reason, go ahead and put them on in your planner or on your shopping lists for at least a week ahead of when you're going to need them, so that you have the time to get them. So just like the library books I mentioned, your kiddo isn't waiting to be able to complete their assignments because you haven't gotten around to getting the list or those items yet, for whatever reason. It happens, right? It happens. But doing this and planning ahead is going to help it so that that's not such an issue for you. So those are some of the ways that I make sure our homeschool is ready for the new school year. If you click on the video on your screen, you'll find a video on some of the ways I make sure that our home is ready for the new school year as well. Thanks for watching.